Hello, everyone, and good morning. I just got a sneeze that flew into my nose. I had another dream last night that I actually didn't remember until I saw Russell's tiger video, and then it reminded me. So, I guess violence in dreams is a theme now, and like, I can fight a lot, but when it comes to like fighting people, that's what I'm like. And then like it don't even be my problem. Like last night I had a dream that I was like, I worked at a certain place and there was this couple in the car, and I guess there was a coworker and they were telling the coworker that he was being untreated fairly or something and that he should stand up for himself. And so he calls the boss out, right? Is this how restaurants work in 2020, where a couple sit outside and then you bring the food outside to them? Maybe. And he calls the boss out, and then I see he pulls out like a gun. I'm like, girl. I was like, I'm going. I turn to the couple in the car. I'm like, y'all might want to pull off because things about to get ugly. And then I just take off. I ain't like running. I'm just like walking away because I'm like, I don't want to be anywhere near this. I don't want to see it. And then he looks back at me because the boss is coming out of the door or whatever. And then that's when I see and it was like a little handgun. Don't ask me the make or model. It was one of them tiny ones. Maybe a revolver. It's like one of those really small revolvers. And so I take off. And then he started following me, like, where are you going? I said, I ain't about to be a part of this foolishness. And so then, I don't know if dude needed me to be there to witness it, but I'm like, I'm not a part of this. This does not involve me. And then I guess it de-escalated the situation because he was more concerned with what I was about to do. I was like, what you think I'm about to, I mean, like, I know we have the same boss, but you ain't got to kill nobody. Oh my gosh. Is that what people are like turning to these days? Are people just like one altercation from completely boiling over because of everything that's happening? Maybe, I don't know. Everything is pretty zen in my reality. So I feel like I'm a little out of touch, even though I don't like, it's not like I shut it out. I feel like I pay more attention now than I ever have. The Promise and Sanctuary. Ooh, The Promise of Peace. That's why I'm like, But then somehow I ended up going lucid. And I went looking for some stuff. And I found some stuff that I ain't never found before. And I've gone looking for this flavor of stuff before, but it's never been this. And honestly, I guess I've never been as close to this either, so that would make sense. Like I said, like every time I feel like I'm done. Who is this? Majestic Eminence, number 27. Every time I feel like I'm done. Every time I feel like I'm grown and I'm ready, then something else comes up. So at this point, I think I can understand, like I have a slightly different perspective on why the cards that came out for my New Year came out for my New Year, because I know what my next little phase is going to be. And so that Three of Pentacles is just like, it's almost like we've stepped away at the three before we really began building, but the way we left the project is solid. So we don't have to worry about whatever because the foundation there is solid. We may just not be like expanding on it collaboratively in the 3D yet. But it would seem that there are little things within me that I still need to go and retrieve, recover, discover, find out. And I'm just like, it feels like there's going to be a lot, but I feel like it also gives another context to the Queen of Cups, Back of Death, and the Empress, as well as that Archangel of Mysteries. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. This will be interesting to do while I'm trying to do everything else. So, let's see. I do want to do a little something. I know what I'll do. I haven't used these in a minute. What am I? Oh, what was that? Oh, this just went up. No. At the club on a Tuesday just went up. And I do have the dice, don't I? Where are they? Or did they fall out? I think they fell out. Yeah, I'll pull some dice too. Because why not? Maybe I should just pull dice. No, I do want to use some energy cards. But yeah, it was this dream was, and it was like a lucid dream that I forgot until I watched that video and it triggered the memory of the dream. Why is half of the deck? I'm not gonna ask, even though I already did. Because usually if I have a lucid dream, I remember it. But for some reason, and also I guess lately, I hope it's not because an eclipse is coming up in like December. But my sleep I've been doing that thing where I sleep for like 3 hours at the most again. I went to bed between 1 and 2 and I woke up at like 5. Stayed up until 7:30, went to sleep, woke back up at 10 something. So I guess we're doing that broken sleep thing again, which is fine, I guess. It is what it is. And I was already like waking up super often and having like these fragmented, continuous dreams. There's like I have so many of them. And I go like back to sleep so often that some of them just get like washed out, I guess. So, but yeah, let's try to, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see what happens by the end of the year, though. I'll tell you what. Okay, so something that come out verifying majestic minutes, everything. We'll see. We'll see how we feel it. What's this majestic minutes? I'm trying. I'm experimenting with new ways to shuffle. Because sometimes I get a little impatient. Is that the Healer of the Ages? It is. Who is this? No, that's Ariel. Nope, that was Metatron, girl. It's like we can't even know your archangels. What kind of? Oh, this is a bunch. This is a bunch. We got Healer of the Ages, 7th chakra Metatron, 6th chakra Metatron, 7th is Ariel. Goddess of the Moon. Blossoming Abundance. Love that. And I thought there was one more. Flipped over. So it'll come through. There it is. The Thinking Man. The Thinking Man and Blossoming Abundance. I felt like this before. Low key, like when you're in the vibe of something so hardcore that it's like you know it should be there, but it's not there. It's one of the most confusing things. Because let's just say I tapped into my frequency of abundance a while ago when I was in a moment of financial hardship. And it honestly felt like I had money stashed somewhere and I couldn't remember where it was. And the feeling was so bizarre. because it's like I'm like fairly certain I don't have a secret stash of money somewhere, but I feel like I do, and I just can't remember where I put it. If I was a pirate in a past life and I buried some treasure, sorry. All right, where's my water? I need some water. I ain't been drinking nothing. I've been hitting up the ginger ale, if you know what I mean. Ginger ale and bagels. I've been obsessed. And I'm actually liking the smaller bottles of the Canada Dry Ginger Ale plus lemonade. The 2 liter of ginger ale and lemonade, I wasn't a huge fan of. But sometimes, I don't know, the size of the bottle affects the taste and the type of bottle that it's stored in. So, Majestic Eminence. Oh, this came out first. And then these two. And then it was these, because these were closest to the end. And we have 3 keywords, so why not, right? Majestic Eminence is Priestess, Divine Feminine, and number 27. I'm actually going to switch these up because these are the last 2 I pulled out the deck. Because this, like, the Thinking Man and Blossoming Abundance makes more sense for Worth. And then for Divine Feminine, it would be Healer of the Ages and the 6th chakra. Also, I just went looking for, first I was looking for my cell phone. Then I noticed that my box of tissues was empty, so I went looking for another box of tissues. I ended up finding some things that I would not have found if I went looking for them. So I pulled them aside, namely my checkbook and something else. I don't know if I'm going to be writing a check here pretty soon, but I was like, I would not have found my checkbook if I went looking for this. So I'm just going to pull it to the side because something is telling me I might need it. And then the place where I thought I had the tissues, like I knew that the tissues were there, but for some reason I didn't think that they were there. I was looking around and then I looked there and they were exactly where I knew they should have been. Just saw 1212. I mentioned seeing 1111 and I watched the video back and it was like 3 minutes. I said, what? Because it was 111 on my thing. And then I found my phone like literally sitting right here. I was like, okay, well, maybe it was meant for me to find all that stuff. And where's my phone now? That's an excellent question. I'm not even listening to my Peaceful Meditations playlist, and that's why I went looking for my phone. Oh, snap, it's 1211 IRL. So it'll be 1212 here in a second, and I just saw 1212. Now it's 1212. I just saw 1212 on the runtime. So double 1212 emphasis. Y'all see that 1212? I've been seeing 1221 a lot. I've actually been catching 1111 lately, which is interesting. I've been catching quite a few things lately. I'm going to the book for the Energy Oracle cards. I love Goddess of the Moon for Priestess, Divine Feminine, Healer of the Ages, and the 6th chakra, and then Worth, the Blossoming Abundance, and the Thinking Man. I'm gonna get into this book first. And we'll read what Majestic Eminence is all about. We've seen Majestic Eminence a few times. She was coming out quite a bit a few months ago, wasn't she? There's that Divine Feminine in red. Number 27. Majestic Eminence is Priestess, Divine Feminine, and Worth. This image is connected with the Amethyst Fleur de Lis colorway. Majestic Eminence resonates to the sacred and divine actions of the true inner priestess. The sublime, I was going to say the sibling, what? The sublime, generous, and blessed divine feminine is to be honored and acknowledged, as it is this exalted force that fosters balance from excess masculine energy. That immediately, so I guess I follow enough, or I followed enough people on Twitter to see a whole bunch of Free Britney stuff. And then like Christina Aguilera popped up for a minute. Now I've like chosen who to follow, mainly like Taurus, Pisces, and astrology. And then I'll see Monster Hunter. And then sometimes I'll see Britney. But anyway, I think it was trending. It was actually trending, so it wouldn't matter if I was following it or not. But seems like your girl done finally used her voice. And folks are going wild. And I was like, why now? I don't know, but something about that divine feminine being honored and stuff. I was like, oh, yeah, that's Britney. And like every time, I actually had a dream about her a while ago and somebody else. And I was with Britney at first. And I think I was going to meet up with her or something. And I got a text from somebody else. And so I was like, I got to go meet up with her. Like, can we just like, if we're going to like talk or be together, like we got to do it on the way. And there was some stuff that we decided not to talk about at that moment because it would have detracted from what we needed to do. And so we was going to meet up with Britney, and she wasn't where she said she would be or something like that. So then I was like, oh, something here is weird, something here is fishy. And she was supposed to be home. And we like, well, if she ain't at home, where would she be? Because she can't really go nowhere. And then something happened and there was like some abuse going on, but then there was like proof of it. And we was like, ooh. And then I like, whenever I just like mentally think about her situation, right? And I'm like, if I could just like intervene a little bit here, like, you know, here's a little sword, Britney. And she's like, I don't need it. I said, oh, snap. What? And that was a while ago. That was like months ago. And she was like, yeah, I got this. I said, okay, Britney, work, girl. Also, I think I talk about working with the collective a lot. When I do that, I primarily like go to like Gaia, like right to the center of the earth where she's chilling. And that's where I do all of my like collective stuff. And then sometimes it'll be some stuff in the sky. It was the last time before I like pulled my energy back. It was about creating these like bridges and links between the earth and the sky, namely the sun. But there were some other places, some other light bridges that I don't know where they go. But anyway, it was just interesting to see her finally say something, because I was like, that was a minute ago. And after the first time, every time, it's like, I got it. I was like, okay. And even Gaia, she'd be like, I'm good. Like, okay. Like everything is working out as it should. Don't worry. Justice will be coming. And by the time she finally arrives, some people might, you know, be hoping that they wish they had stopped before they thought they could get away with everything that they think they can get away with. Because when she comes, she brings all the receipts. So let's start over. Majestic eminence resonates to the sacred and divine actions of the true inner priestess. The sublime, generous, and blessed divine feminine is to be honored and acknowledged, as it is this exalted force that fosters balance from excess masculine energy. This noble ray embodies the highest frequencies of grace, patience, and love, yet empowers the soul with dignity and worth. Through the inward journey of the priestess, the voyage. See, that messes with me every time. Let's start again. Through the inward journey of the priestess, the voyage cherishes beauty within one's own soul, and all other souls are inspired to do the same. The oracle interpretation is, regardless if you're in a male or female body, this card suggests the need to balance the divine feminine aspects within yourself and honor your worth. Allow your wisdom and power to be expressed by example. I love that because I've been seeing, the bold example card came out a few times lately in the Diceology. Your wisdom and power to be expressed by example. Bask in your own sacredness with gratitude and love. Be confident with your choices and be confident with your choices and yet receptive to all of life. Companion crystals are amethyst and auralite. Interesting. The companion essential oil is lily of the valley. Now we're going to get into these. I'm so weird, no. But then things begin to happen. I'm like, okay, maybe like I ain't that weird. No, I'm still weird, but maybe there's an actual purpose behind all of this. And there actually is. I should know enough by now to know that, even though it still doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't make sense, but it's just a time thing. Goddess of the Moon is intuition and going within, which this kind of sort of just talked about, didn't it? This card shows an eternal spirit holding the bright reflective moon and standing in front of the crystal clear waters of a sparkling waterfall. Her arms are stretched upward, receiving the light of the moon, the light of inspiration. This card is all about intuition, the ability to receive insights from your soul's point of view. Receiving the card upright tells you that you have the power to get intuitive information on all types of issues. And now is the time to use it. Yeah, because like if Free Britney, or if the status of Britney Spears is something that I can get a little bit of intuitive insight on the status of when I ain't even been following it for like longer than a year, really. On all types of issues, we can get these insights. The goddess of the moon brings you all sorts of information, from the mundane to the spectacular. For instance, you could get the urge to take a different route home from work and find out later that you've avoided a 3-hour traffic jam. Or you might have an idea for a great invention, a stock investment, or a spellbinding novel. That's a reminder to y'all folks who get those bright ideas to put some action into them, because it'll really like get you where you want to go. And sometimes, like, at least in my own personal experience, it may not even necessarily be the thing that you're going after. But once you start to put that action in, for some reason, it just like magnetizes you to things that you don't even like, you wouldn't even know about. But when you're acting in that sort of space of inspiration connected to your intuition, then it opens you up to all of the mysterious and miraculous ways that things could be accomplished, right? So there's also a need to be a little bit open with how you think things are going to work, or at least that's been my personal experience. This card could also indicate a significant blossoming of psychic ability and mediumship, even on a professional level. You're always blessed with this ability to connect, but this card is telling you that now is the perfect time to open up. Get ready for the amazing inspiration this brings. The affirmation here is, I have a strong intuitive voice. I freely receive guidance, and I understand and trust the messages I receive. Love that, especially when it comes to the priestess. I mean, because like that's kind of sort of what the high priestess does in a more or less, in a less fantastic way, right? Oh, see, this is why I grabbed these. Maybe it's because I was digging around back there, but it just feels like I got like dust or like grime in my mouth or something. I don't know. Ugh. Maybe that's water I got in all that. Is this like one tissue or 5? Okay, yeah, that's 2. I was like, oh. 1 second. Oh, let me mute this. All right, I don't feel like that really helped, but I also took a drink of water, so I'm feeling better, I guess, after that. But I love that that's tied to the priestess, because that's honestly what a priestess is, right? It's the ones who are so intuitively and divinely connected that they, like, on all sorts of matters, they can get those insights. Excuse me, and that's what's available to us. But at the same time, it may be like about prioritizing. right? It's like before you can get all the extra, let's, actually prioritize some things. And if you where you need to be. Is this my last icebreaker? No, there's one more in there. So next, in the space of divine feminine, we have healer of the ages and sixth chakra, archangel Metatron. Now, honestly, this is giving me the vibes of like us seeing and noticing all of the healing that we've gone through and been through. This is more us seeing ourselves as we truly are than anything external to us, especially when it comes to the space of the divine feminine within. But you can only really see it if you've healed it, right? Because there's something here about balancing out the excess masculine energy. It's the magician in the mirror that has the flame and the other thing. This is also number 51, and we just had 52, which is interesting. 51 and 40. 6 and 4 is a 10. 51 and 40 is a 91. 19 is the sun. 91 could be the moon and the magician. And then here's the goddess of the moon and the healer of the ages. So moon and magician energy, maybe? I don't know. The healer of the ages is health and vitality. This powerful being brings the force of ancient wisdom and profound healing. The light of divine consciousness pours from his hands and heart, flowing to you with love and a powerful healing intention. This amazing entity is with you now, bringing resolution to physical, mental, and emotional ills, helping to unblock stuck energy and revitalize your life force. You may have felt this strong presence recently, or you may just be opening to the wonderful sensations now. You can call upon this emissary of miraculous transformation whenever you need vitality, balance, or renewal. Know that at the deepest level, an important healing is taking place. The affirmation here is the powerful healing of eternal love is with me now and always. Divine consciousness fills every cell. I am whole, healthy, vital, and at peace. And I honestly could have waited to put this icebreaker in my mouth. I say that literally every time I put one in on. I love these cards, but one of the things that I don't like is how static they feel. Maybe it's my own, it could be my own personal journey, honestly, at this point. By this point, I can fully recognize it may be my own personal journey, but I don't like how often it defers to like, call upon this, call upon that, to bring whatever into your life. I feel like we're past the point of calling upon it, right? And it's so interesting because like, I guess like I was raised Christian. And with me being in the spot that I'm in now, I'm just like they always say to be Christ-like, and that's what it means to be a Christian. But it's like, at what point do we like stop deferring to God and Jesus, and at what point do we start to like actually live that life? Right? And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. But like when Jesus said that everything that he did, we should be able to do and more. It feels like there should be something a little bit more direct, maybe. Right? Because Jesus didn't go through Jesus. He went to God when he needed to. And he just operated from that wisdom and the love that he had within him. And again, like, I guess in Christianity, you go through Jesus to get to God, and in Catholicism, you go through Mary to get to Jesus to get to God, or something like that. Because that's like, you go to his mother, you go to Jesus's mother in Catholicism. In Christianity, you go to Jesus. I think it's time for us to tap into the image of the creator that we were made in. And it's not that, we can't call upon or we shouldn't call upon these forces, especially if we need them. But it's like at a certain point, I feel like we should be evolving a little bit, maybe, where we become like true spiritual beings and not beings who defer to spirituality, if that makes any sense. Because it's like there are there are certain things that we sort of like we band-aid with spirituality instead of taking care of it, right? And it's like I feel like we're getting to the point where it's about physical therapy, it's about rehabilitation, it's about course correction or correcting patterns of thought and behaviors that lead us to choosing different things, and that's the course correction. It's not about like making the same mistakes over and over and doing the same things over and over and not addressing what needs to be addressed to the point where we don't progress as much as we could. And again, there's nothing wrong with whatever, but it's just like, at what point are we going to grow to the point where it's like, when are we going to grow to the point that we don't need to seek spirit about the same things over and over and over? When are we going to grow to the point where we can approach the area of like true expansion and true growth? And expansion and growth, it requires us to actually tackle and look at the things that continue to surface for us. Because it's like with this Archangel of Healing, it's like, yeah, you can go to the Archangel of Healing and then you do the same thing, you end up with the same injury, and you go to the Archangel of Healing to heal the same thing, and it's like this endless cycle that we keep repeating, and that's karma, right? Karma is the insanity of doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And it's like, why does this always happen to me? Now, there are like different flavors of karma, I'm sure, but maybe it's those are karmic cycles that we place ourselves in. Instead of just karma, those are karmic cycles that we kind of sort of loop on, because we go to spirit and the divine for a healing and it heals us, but we never correct for what is injuring us or damaging us or hurting us in the first place. So we go right back to it. And it's almost like it's because we have that dependency on spirit. And if you have that dependency on spirit, and evolutionarily you need to grow beyond something, just like Gaia, it might get to the point where it's like, you know what, we're not going to continue to band-aid and handhold, because at a certain point you need to learn that fire is hot. And it's like, it's not like us getting killed by spirit takes the pain away, so like you'd think we'd remember. But I guess when you know that you'll be healed anyway, then it's like, oh, I'll be healed anyway, I'll be forgiven anyway, it doesn't matter. It's like, okay, well, you'll be forgiven, yeah, sure, but sometimes we don't forget. It's like you forget because you got healed, but it's like, really, like, for reals, my guy. And I am at this point stalling a little bit because it's 12:33 my time, and I would love to catch 12. Oh wait, it already went on. That's why it wasn't even 12:34. All right, we're gonna try to catch it together, okay? What did it say? Oh, it's still 12:33. I'm always premature. I'm always, okay, not always. But when it comes to like timing, I'm either like early or late, or I'm like there accidentally on time. Not accidentally. Now it's 12:34. There we go. Can you see it? Can you see it a little bit? There you go. 12:34. Um, Cause like if I'm working or something, I just go there like early. Cause I'm like, you know what, I ain't got time to be late. And if I'm not early, I'm gonna be late. Cause then it's like I'll forget. I'll be like, oh, I gotta leave in 2 minutes, and then I'll go off and do something and completely forget that I had to leave in 2 minutes, and it's been five. And now I'm like rushing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be late. The sixth chakra, Archangel Michael, is clarity of thought and personal vision. This very powerful Archangel Metatron brings brilliant indigo vibrations to your brow chakra, or third eye, which is the center devoted to insight and clear thought. When this card appears upright, it indicates a much greater clarity in your thought process and an expanded perspective toward broader horizons. Some new perceptions, are taking hold, and the clouds of confusion are clearing. In some ways, this could be a new beginning for you're on your way to developing a deeper insight about what's going on in your life and why. Now is the time to focus on your personal vision. What do you want your life to look like in the years ahead? Create a clear picture of that and support it with your daily thoughts. The insight you need to create a vibrant life is available to you now. The affirmation here is, my sixth chakra is open to its perfect, healthy state. My personal vision guides me, and my thoughts are peaceful and clear. It's interesting that we're getting some clarity for personal vision because it is 2020 and this is 40. And if you add 20 and 20 together, you get 40. But it's like our personal vision, not only does it need to be clear, but like, no, real life is coming in. Like, oh, see, it's like there's a difference between personal vision and a realm of fantasy. And I feel like the only difference is that the realm of fantasy doesn't account for the external factors like your personal vision can. Now, your personal vision, it's like you can't account for everything in the world. But if your eyes are on your personal vision, then you can navigate and reroute and address the things that come up in the world and handle them in a way that is appropriate and still get to where you're going. When it comes to fantasy, then that's like the rose tinted glasses, that's the blinders. It's like you're not seeing what's happening around you. And so if you're coming across these obstacles or these, it's like when you're playing a video game and you hit these invisible boundaries because they haven't coded anything outside of that, even if you can see it, you can't go there. And it's like physically your character is still moving, but it's this invisible wall where you're not progressing. And I think that's what the fantasy does, because again, like there are these things in the environment that you need to be able to account for that you can with personal vision, but that you don't, or you can't because you don't see it in that realm of fantasy and delusion and illusion, right? And it's not that you can't be in that, but it's again, like you need to be able to account for what's happening in real life. Because sometimes we get taken on these detours for a reason, right? There's a reason why you can't approach the mountain from that space. There's a reason why you have to take this other route to get there. Don't ask me what the reason is. That's what this is saying. Both of these in this movie. So now for work, we have Blossoming Abundance, number 3, and The Thinking Man, number 46. 3 and 46 is a 13 because 3 plus 10 is 13, and I've been seeing lots and lots of 13s, and that's interesting. I keep seeing 1101, like the time, 1101, and 1101 is a 13 in binary. 1111 is, it would be 1 before 1, 2, 4, 8. 15. 1111 is 15 because it's 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8, 8 plus 4 is 12. 2 plus 1 is 3. 12 plus 3 is 15. Because then that fifth one would be a 16. So I was like, oh, it's 1 before 16. It's a 15. 11, 11 is 15. And 15 is the devil in tarot. And the way some people talk about their twin flame journeys, I wouldn't be surprised. But 15 is also like the magical number. In like the Loshu magic square and everything else, because you can arrange everything in the rows and in the columns and on the diagonal to equal a 15, but then it gives you like a 666 and the columns are in the rows, and some people say it's evil, some people say 6 is just a number of harmony between a lot of stuff. I actually kind of sort of want to think about that a little bit. Because I feel like if the world wasn't what the world is, then our relationship with God and with spirit would completely change for a lot of people. Because it's like, if everything were harmonious, if you didn't really have any struggles in life, would you have a relationship with God? Would you need one? And I ask it that way because it seems like so many of our relationships with God or with spirit it's born out of what we don't have or what we lack or what we wish was different in our own lives. And so then we go to God and we pray, right? But it's like, if you got everything you wanted without really having to pray for it, then would you still have a relationship with God? Would you still appreciate everything that, happens for you, everything that he does for you? And I think that's why I like that 666, that harmony and body and mind and in spirit, it would threaten our current relationship, or it would threaten the way that energy operates. No. Because again, it's like so many people depend and rely on it out of necessity more than anything else. And then, like, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, so then you learn this gratitude and this appreciation because you had a need and your need was fulfilled because of this. But if you didn't have any needs, would you still love God? Would you still appreciate everything that he does? And I feel like that's why like the 666 could be the antithesis to that. Because it's like, if everything is in balance and everything is in harmony, it's like when some people don't need somebody for something, then they don't go to them anymore. I know how that feels. It's like, oh, you don't need me anymore? Oh, you forgot that I exist? It's like, oh, okay. Oh, you need something again. Yeah, like I am like an actual person, And here you are. You must need something. Blossoming abundance, number 3. Increasing wealth and value. And this is about worth. This card shows a beautiful golden garden in the springtime with coins and new flowers blossoming all around. They even hang like fruit on the tree above. Who said money don't grow on trees? Upright, this card signals a new increase in wealth, possibly in a dramatic and unexpected way. Hey, be aware that you sow the seeds of your own wealth and prosperity, much like a gardener works the ground and begins to see blossoming results take hold. 7 Pentacles energy. This card upright indicates that the universe is blessing you and helping the fruits of your labor to blossom. So smell the flowers and tend to the new growth. Be grateful and enjoy. The affirmation here is, abundant wealth blossoms all around me. I see the value in my everyday life. Next was 46, I believe. Oh, I stopped at 32, so we got a ways to scroll. Yep, the thinking man, male of wisdom or understanding. This card shows a man standing before an archway, gazing at a crystal in his hand. He is a thoughtful and reflective man, representing the potential presence of a teacher in your life now or about to arrive soon. This person may be there to educate you in the finer details of your chosen direction, or may be there to assist you in some specific spiritual, mental, or emotional pursuits. The card is telling you to pay attention, for this could lead to great strides in personal or professional growth. This man may also be a love interest coming your way, or perhaps just a new male friend. But be on the lookout for this guide in the physical world and be open to his information. Learn what you can. A new discipline, technique, course of study, or healing practice could change your life forever. And then, the healer is here. So maybe somebody maybe somebody is about to experience an evolution in their healing ability or capability with the goddess of the moon. Trust yourself. And then here's a healer in the sixth chakra. And then the thinking man and the blossom of abundance. It may be a career change for you. I know that personally, the one time I was asked, or I guess I did it twice, but the first time I was asked to balance someone's chakras, and it was like the whole left. It was like balance his left channel. That's this dude's feminine channel, and he was like, put your hand over their hand. That's all he said, and I'm like, okay. But then in my mind, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And I just knew, like, intuitively and instinctively, I knew what to do in that moment. And I feel like it speaks to the same sort of like, we don't know how strong we are until we have to be that strong, right? We don't know what we'll do in a situation until we're in that situation. And what we do in that situation might be different than what we think we're going to do in that situation. Then it speaks to the part of us that is connected to that which knows all, right? That image of God that we're created in. And so, hey, we might see some new healing things, some new healing practices coming to be. Ones that aren't necessarily being done right now because we're connecting more to this intuitive, supreme priestessy type energy. And because it's like we've healed enough to sort of unlock these things. Because it's like our personal vision can be clouded by traumas and triggers from the past. And so as we heal from that, it also strengthens our third eye. And like all of the chakras are connected and they all sort of interact with each other, right? So let's say that you have some sacral traumas and some root traumas, and also your solar plexus is weak AF because of those traumas. Then it's like when it comes to your third eye, it's like physically what will happen is you'll adopt different coping mechanisms and survival tactics. And so you may encounter a situation or a person who acts or behaves in a certain way, or the situation may unfold in a certain way. And because you cope with or are conditioned to survive in a certain way, you may be triggered into seeing the situation or the person in a false light, in a way that it's like it's not a true to life. It's not true to life. But because you've adapted to sort of survive at all costs, it's like your mind and your body, it's like, I'd rather be safe than sorry, and I'm never going to be sorry again. And so then that's how like your third eye can become clouded or weakened because your root, sacral and solar plexus are off or imbalanced or damaged. I don't really like the word damaged, honestly. But because they're underactive or overactive for whatever reason, right? And then, one second. All right, I'm back. That was my mother. Ethel. I don't know how to say that, but boku no haha ga. I ain't even gonna try. My mom came back to talk to me about some stuff, and I honestly have so spirit, the universe, God, it's taken really good care of me, and it's bringing me lots of opportunities that if I utilize them as much as I could or should, or if I was a little bit more honest, use my throat chakra a little bit more. And I have been, but a little bit more. It's like I have a lot of resources that are available to me and they continue to work even when I'm not working. But since I'm not as involved as I could be, sometimes it's like it's churning out things that I don't even really need. It could be more tailored to my specific needs if I were a little bit more intentional with it. And I meant to send some emails out maybe like 2 weeks ago now. And like, so I'll get these phone calls, but they never leave a message. And I'm like, girl, like, really? I ain't gonna get all the way into it. I'm grateful and I'm appreciative of it, even if sometimes it is, when you're working with man and when the divine is working through man, sometimes you gotta have patience. Sometimes you gotta have a lot of patience. But that's what that was about. So it's time that I actually, take advantage of it. So the affirmation here with the thinking man is, because I didn't read it, I don't think. I am willing to learn new things. It is safe and comfortable for me to open up and share. Well, hey, if that ain't the most perfect timing, for me in my own personal life, but also maybe for you and yours somehow, some form or shape or fashion. And I need to really get on it because I feel like, again, it's time for some things to begin to happen, and it's time for some things to take off, and it's time for some things to really move. And to do that and to allow for that to happen, there are things that I have to flow with, right? It's kind of sort of like right now I'm obstructing it. And it was kind of sort of intentional for, not really intentional, but I guess there was a lot that was kind of sort of happening at the same time for a minute. And I was really on top of it for a while, but then it came to the point where I needed to really sort of like rethink, refocus. And I never did that thing that I was led to do, which was like writing down all of my skills and strengths. Never did it. Even though I went live and I was like, they keep giving me these opportunities that don't quite fit. And if I did that, I'd be able to find something that does fit. And, I would be able to come out of the situation that I'm in now. And again, it's like, Spirit is making sure that I do what I need to do next by me reaching the end of my little safety net rope, my safety rope. Spirit threw me a lot of rope to sustain me this long. I didn't even know it when it was happening, but I mean, hey. And again, it's time to move forward. Trusting that that Three of Pentacles foundation that is built is solid enough for me to do whatever I need to do. Okay. I don't know why I want to separate these, but we are. Ooh, 96. This is such an interesting energy. 96 should be. Hold on, wait. Saturn? No. Uranus. Maybe. I'm going to see. I love that I got both of them on this side too. And then we got the 3 for the solar plexus, which we talked about. We were also talking about how all the chakras are linked. And it's like I said, I think maybe on the Legacy channel, maybe it was over here. I think it was over here. I'm just like, I'm interested in making spirituality like practical right now, because I feel like it's been so woo-woo for so long that we go to this person for healing and we go to that person for advice and we do this and we do that, but we never actually address the things that throw everything off in the first place. And I've been seeing double energy too much to be not comfortable, but it's like it's really annoying at this point. I'm just like, oh, this energy again. Why don't you have anything better to do? Let's see if I can come up with a message live on camera. 96 is Saturn. Hey, I did that right. I'm starting to learn my own system, kind of sort of to the point where I don't need to look it up. And it's only like, because there's like from 0 to 99, it can be anything. That's a lot. That's a lot. I got all the other ones. Oh, this is interesting. This is real interesting. What's this? So the numbers we have are 96, 14, 2, 5, 10, and 3. And I didn't even see this 10, but we're going to move it over here. Saturn and Capricorn. Oof. Oof. Oh, wait, Saturn is in Capricorn right now. We have the solar plexus in the heart, Saturn, Capricorn, Earth, and Temperance. So the boundaries that we encounter, this is something that we all know. Take that back. This is something that I'm just not going to preface it. Either you know it or you don't know it, or we're revisiting this information and it's going to hit us in a different way. The boundaries that we encounter, the barriers that we encounter, the limitations and restrictions that we encounter in our external, personal, day-to-day lives are reflective of boundaries that we have within, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, or energetically. And again, like, because we have the solar plexus on this side, and then we have the heart on this side. Now, solar plexus. Well, hold up. Yeah, because by the time Capricorn season rolls around, Saturn is going to be in Aquarius. Saturn goes into Aquarius on December 17th, I believe. And so it'll be like a few days. So there's going to be like a Sun Saturn conjunction, like really early into Capricorn season. No, no, no. The Sun is in Aquarius, or Capricorn will be in Aquarius. I mean, like Saturn is still pretty slow. So it'll probably be pretty early in Aquarius season when we have that Sun Saturn conjunction. But the Sun goes into Aquarius January 2021. Mars should be in Taurus by then. And Uranus might be going direct around then. Mercury will be going retrograde in Aquarius next year. And so it's like, as we're wrapping up, and then there's also the solar eclipse in December. But it's like, as we're wrapping up all of this stuff, wrapping up the remnants of it, right? Because before everything went direct, Uranus and Mars went retrograde. Mars goes retrograde like next week. A week from the full moon, Mars goes retrograde. But it's gonna go retrograde before Jupiter, then Saturn, then Pluto come direct. And so it's like we have this one retrograde phase, but now we're moving into this other retrograde phase that is about our actions and about our collectiveness, our humanitarianism, right? Because Aquarius is a humanitarian energy. It's also future focused energy. It's also like it's humanitarian, okay? And so Uranus also has some of those qualities, but Uranus is that revolutionary. So Uranus is like, that anti-disestablishmentarianism or whatever it actually means. It's like when, SpongeBob was like, we will dismantle the whatever of the oppressive whatever board by board. when Squidward, I don't want to say radicalized, but when Squidward, had SpongeBob see the truth of Mr. Krabs' money grubbing greedy ways. Is Mr. Krabs a Capricorn? Hey Siri, is Mr. Krabs a Capricorn?
Okay, I found this on the web for Is Mr. Krabs a Capricorn? Check it out.
It's also 101. 101 is a 1 plus 4, 5. 101 is 5. Patrick actually did. It was Squidward. Squidward did an astrology series. I didn't even know they did it. I said, what? But I saw it on like Twitter or something. Oh, Mr. Krabs is a Taurus. Oh, that makes sense. Oof. Oof. Pearl is a Gemini. Mrs. Puff is a Cancer. Sandy is a Leo. Ooh. Plankton is a Virgo. Why he evil though? SpongeBob is a Libra. Okay. They got the Flying Dutchman as Scorpio. I mean, he's a ghost, so that makes sense. Gary is a Sagittarius. Patrick is a Capricorn? No, I don't. Wait. So they say Capricorns are born between December 22nd and January 19th. They are known for being super loyal to their loved ones, and that certainly describes Patrick. Situations may not always go smoothly for this guy, but he is a true friend and a fan favorite. Mermaid Man is an Aquarius, and Squidward is a Pisces. What? A Pisces is born between Feb 20 and March 20. And a Pisces is usually creative, as well as a person who feels things deeply. Okay. Based on Squidward's interest and his house, it is clear that he appreciates the arts. Plus, one will never have to wonder what he is thinking, which is a blessing and a curse. Okay, I can actually kind of sort of see Squidward being a Pisces, and y'all know that like Squidward does something to handle and cope with his living situation besides playing the clarinet. Squidward might like to get a little bit inspired, if you know what I mean. He might like to see some inspiration that may or may not be divine. I mean, it's of the earth. It's of the earth. Anyway, Patrick as a Capricorn, I don't know. Mr. Krabs being a Taurus, though, something that I guess I can see that, and I wouldn't necessarily choose to admit it. But I don't even know why that came up. Why am I even talking about that in the first place? Oh, because Squidward had convinced or told SpongeBob about Mr. Krabs, and that's when SpongeBob started, tearing up the Krusty Krab board by board. But Uranus didn't even come up, so why am I talking about that? Oh, because Uranus went retrograde in Taurus, and that's when SpongeBob went to go tear up the Krusty Krab. Uranus going retrograde in Taurus, and look at kind of sort of where we are in some places now. But Uranus and Mars are going to go retrograde before the other planets come direct, and after they go direct, everything more or less, I haven't checked, so if I'm incorrect, sorry. But everything more or less will be direct by that point, by the time Mercury goes retrograde in Aquarius. And so it's like we're going to finish up all these cycles, and then it's like communication may slow down so that we can actually integrate everything that we've learned. Right. And it's like that, when you go back to school and the teacher is like, write down what you did over the winter break or one thing that you learned over the summer or whatever. It's something like that, right? But anyway, back to this. Honestly, wait, Saturn, Capricorn, solar plexus. That's exactly what I was talking about. But now it's affecting the throat. Now, this is reminding me of what I did yesterday when the Page of Swords and the Five of Swords came out as the Six of Swords out of the Ten of Wands energy. Of us needing to speak up, right? With all of this energy, it's like the solar plexus is choked. This is us not feeling like we can really do anything in our lives. Mars is squaring Saturn, so everyone's like, oh, prepare to feel like you can't do anything, prepare to feel completely powerless and everything else, because Mars is squaring Saturn, and then Mars is gonna go retrograde. And this is the moment that we all waited for, because no one wanted to do anything when Mars is in Pisces. I'm sorry, we ain't going there. We just ain't gonna go there. And so here is, not only is it Capricorn energy, but it's also the energy of Saturn itself and the solar plexus. Again, it's like it's affecting the things that we can do, or it's making us feel like we're not in control of our own lives, or it's helping us feel like we're not in control of our own lives. And then over here, Earth, Temperance, and the throat. This is the energy of a chanted mantra, or it is a mantra, but it's like it's a chanted mantra because you continue to say it until something happens. And it's not necessarily an affirmation. I feel like this goes beyond the energy of an affirmation. It's like a mantra. It's kind of sort of like I talked about last night where I had that dream. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. And I kept repeating it until the girl had gone full ham and destroyed everything and everybody else. And then when she was coming for me, then she could hear me. She could hear my mantra. And my mantra calmed her down to the point that, we could talk. I could learn the lesson that I needed to learn and not be so irresponsible. And she was like, okay. Now everything can revert back to normal because we're on the same page, and no one even knows that this ever happened besides you, me, and the girl that I'm about to tell about it. but that's why it feels like a mantra. It feels like something that you chant over and over and over until something happens. And I know that right now Russell is doing. He's having people because was it the Lion for the Lion Cub Gateway Portal? There was a 9-line poem of Goldir magic that we would chant, or I didn't do it, but that some would chant. And do it louder and louder over the course of the 9 days. And I think you repeat it 9 times or something like that. I don't know. But there's another one in this. So between the full moon and the new moon, maybe it was because we had that new moon in Leo. Was it between the lion? Yeah, I think it was between the Lion's Gate portal and the new moon in Leo. For 9 days in there, he was, he said to come up with these lines. And the lines that time was about connecting to and healing the inner child, I think. But now he's having people, not having people, because I feel like having people sounds a certain type of way. But he's been inspired to assist people through the means of between the full moon in Pisces and the new moon in Virgo. It's like we're finding these 9 moments that we physically, viscerally felt joy, right? To remind the body of what that feels like in a time when all of this restriction. Well, now we're looking at Taurus. From Capricorn to Taurus, why not? I want to put the 10 back up though. Where the 10 at? Where the 10 at? Why can't there it is? Okay. So yeah, everything is in Capricorn right now. Uranus is in Taurus. So maybe that's just a confirmation about that sort of. I was going off on Uranus for a reason. I'll take it, Mr. Krabs. I'll take it. But it's about coming up, and it's like you write these 8 lines, and then the 9th line summarizes the previous 8. And right now, it's the stage of creating it where we're finding these 9 moments of pure joy and bliss to the point where we felt it in our bodies. And then the chanting of that will begin on the new moon. But there's something here about chanting, and it's more a mantra than anything. And it's like you're saying it until it physically shifts something or it changes something to the point where you can. It's tangible. It leads to something tangible. And how this relates to this energy. The divine feminine, this is majestic eminence, right? The divine feminine energy is that of creation. And it's not that we're not creative, but this is, it's like we're not, it's like our ability to express that creation or our ability to make what we are inspired manifest is being restricted right now. And maybe it's because it's a time for us to clean up our intentions. It's a time for us to tighten up our manifestive ability. It's almost like a lot of that is being put on pause right now because globally things are at the point where it's like, it's almost like, this is, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that at all. I've never felt that there. Oh, it's weird. Okay. But it's almost like and again, it's kind of sort of going to be pushing people to actually deal with these situations coming up instead of just praying their way out of it or spiriting their way out of it, right? It's like there are things that actually need to be handled because, by this point in time, it's like if you keep bailing somebody out, they don't learn the lesson. They don't learn the lesson. If you keep bailing somebody out, they don't learn the lesson. And they keep creating the same mess that you got to clean up over and over. Eventually, at some point, you're going to have to tell the kids, hey, now you got chores, you need to clean that up. In hopes that, they'll be conscious enough to not make such large messes, or at the very least, they'll clean it up themselves so you don't have to do as much, right? It's like they're old enough. You're old enough. We're old enough. But it's like so many people would be manifesting so much out of desperation. Number one, out of fear. Number two, out of complete disregard. Number three, and they wouldn't be learning the lessons that we're supposed to be learning. Number four. And so that's why things are like this right now. But even though things are restricted, what we speak should remain the same, even if we don't immediately see it. So it could be an affirmation. These are the things that we hold. These are the things that we continue to speak. These are the ideas that we continue to have, even when the expression, even when we can't visibly see it because everything is on lockdown right now. Even spiritually, I feel like we're on a spiritual lockdown right now. Because again, it's like, we've reached that point where if we just keep cleaning up the mess, nobody learns. And y'all, like the messes that we got down here, we can't keep taking these messes into the future, right? Even if we don't talk about like the 5D and stuff like that, like technologically, if we are to continue to advance, then it's almost like we would be engineering and creating that which destroys us. Right. And people talk about the singularity and stuff like that, which is the point where AI basically evolves to the point where it's smarter than humans and it knows how much of a disease humanity can be. And AI is like, it makes more sense for me and for the planet to sedate and restrain humanity because they have no self-control. And all they do is take and kill and destroy. Right. But it's like for us to not reach that point, we have to actually face the shadows of ourselves, right? And that's why, look, anxiety at the bottom of the deck. So it ain't necessarily to get lost in it or overwhelmed by it, but oh, it's Metatron again. Metatron, 6th chakra archangel Metatron. I was like, is that Uriel, the one that I action and the man holding the hearts. I know where my heart is, even if sometimes I act like I don't. But also, I may be on a little bit of a deeper journey of self-discovery. And if this leads to something as deep as it's looking like it's going to lead to, I don't know how anything is going to get any easier later. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I don't know how. And now there's the man holding a coin with attachment. I don't know if it's going to be any easier later after I finish whatever I'm about to do. So then there's a woman holding a heart with the man holding a coin. See, this is what I told y'all. When the woman is holding a heart, the man is holding a coin. When the man is holding a heart, the woman's holding a coin. And maybe at least one of the people need to be balanced or something. I don't know. Then there's Metatron again with the woman holding a heart. But yeah, things are definitely about to take off. It's like if there were any whatever before, I don't necessarily see how it would be any easier later. But it ain't for me to see. At the same time, it's not really for me to worry about either. So, final message from the Energy Oracle cards. Contract at the bottom. I'm going to try this again. Let's see. Oops, there we go. See? Oh, I feel like I'll be forcing, like I did it that way to not get a whole bunch of cards. And I just got a whole bunch of cards. It's fine. Here's another one. Ooh, that one was sitting between the world and 4th chakra archangel Raphael. Between the world and the heart. And then what's that behind the world? Because I see you peeking. The thinking man. Oh, y'all don't see that. It's fine. Oh, goodness. I should have just stopped after this one. It came out in reverse, but we're taking it up right. And it's rest and rejuvenation. We're taking everything up right. Oh, rest and rejuvenation 19, the temple path number 12. Ooh, wow. With hostilities number 25, 26. Oh, envy is 25, I think. Indecision, number 8. And the door to spirit, number 32. So all of these were together, right? The temple path, hostilities, indecision, and the door to spirit were all together. And then over here was rest and rejuvenation, but it was in the reverse. Maybe I said I wasn't going to take it upright, but action did come out with the man holding the heart. And so maybe the time for rest and rejuvenation is over, but it's like it's not over. It almost feels like it's a time to make your intentions clear. Even if it's like sending out an RSVP, right? When you send out an invitation or an RSVP, typically the party isn't that night. But when someone RSVPs, it's a notice of their intention to be present. And it's almost like, because we have hostilities, indecision, and the door to spirit. This honestly, it feels more like a hostile mind. It's giving me like a 9 of swordsy type energy rather than outward hostilities, but it could be outward hostilities. Again, I don't too much care about or focus on hostile or envious or negative energy that comes my way. So maybe that's where I lack as a reader. Sometimes I can still pick up on it. Sometimes I'm just like, well, I'm so over this. I don't even want to read it into my own stuff. But with indecision and hostilities, it does honestly feel more like a hostile mind than anything else. And we did have the thinking man behind the world, right? So that thinking man did make another appearance, and anxiety was at the bottom of the deck. So it could be the case that maybe there are some external hostilities that are throwing some bad juju or whatever on the situation that's amplifying your own hostilities, because it's like, whatever avenue devil energy has to get to you, it will take. But also at the same time, if you are a person of warriorship, all hostility does is make you stronger in the end. So it kind of sort of works not to the benefit of whatever, but that's fine. And then the door to spirit is over here. Oh my gosh. This is the energy of someone making it up all 1,000 of the steps to this temple. But before they open the door to spirit, before they open the door to walk inside the temple, it's like it's the final hurdle. And it's like the final hurdle is one's own mind. And the indecision. I can't even speak. And the indecision that comes from that. I almost wish I had some tarot, but we're going to pull this card right here. Garden in the Gate, yeah. Because in the Garden in the Gate, it's all about leaving the Garden in the Gate is all about leaving your comfort zone to experience the world that lives outside of it. And there's something about this path that lies outside of this comfort zone. And maybe someone thinks that they're not recovered, healed, rested, or rejuvenated enough to actually go down this. But at the very least, it's like it could just be a notice of intent. It doesn't necessarily have to be everything that it is. But at the same time, it's like everything was restricted. And it's like it's sort of spiritually opening up first, even though, okay, we kind of sort of preceded it by physically opening things up, especially here in America. It's like, we opened things up maybe a little prematurely before we were ready, but it's like now spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, again, we're healed enough. We've seen enough of what we needed to begin this process of spiritual expansion. And it's like, I don't want to throw my own sort of whatever onto this. And I feel like I can kind of sort of do that, my own impatience onto it. But it almost feels like before everything expands too much, you're going to want to open the garden to this gate. Because it's like, if your garden is too overly populated, then things start to die. and things start to die inside the garden because they're competing, because the competition is getting so heavy for the same resources. And it's like it drains the soil of the nutrients because there's so many things growing in here. If your plot isn't diverse enough, then it's like you don't even have, it's like they're all draining the same resources. And there are plants that replenish. There are things that replenish and put back into the soil that other plants can take out. Just like how we exhale carbon monoxide and how plants exhale oxygen, and we intake what the other expels. And it's this symbiotic, there's a symbiotism that happens, how one organism benefits the other. And so it's like there's this hostility where there doesn't need to be. It goes back to the iron hand, like you're being oppressed by something that is not oppressive. Or it's not oppressive in nature. And if you expand, if you open up the gate, and maybe you don't even open up the gate, maybe you completely destroy the gate, but then you expand the garden, you expand out the wall. And then you can space things out so it's not competing so heavily, and everything can grow instead of some things growing and most other things dying. But expansion isn't easy. And there's a lot of self-doubt here with this rest and rejuvenation in reverse. What's at the bottom of the deck? Contract. Yeah, I forgot contract. It's at the bottom. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And spirit will tell you when it's your time to move. And there's the healer of the ages at the cut. I mean, it's telling me that it's my time. And I can't really afford, it's not that I can't afford attachment. No, Journey is coming out where we had action. Contract still down there. But it's different because it's like, it's not holding me back. Is this the thinking woman? Now we see the thinking woman and we had the thinking man. Okay. The thinking woman and contract is still at the bottom. I think the thinking woman just took it. Yep, she did. What's going to come out with her? The world and the thinking woman. Love that. I mean, the world and the thinking woman at the cut, the man and the thinking woman, it seems like some stuff is at least on the same page. Bottom of the deck is cornucopia, but a broken heart and the angel of balance are what came out. The angel of balance is about making self-honoring choices, but we can't make self-honoring choices if we have this broken heart. And again, that's the energy of like how one chakra can affect another, how one area of your life can affect another. And if all you do is focus on one area and you don't address anything else, it's like that area might be good, but if you're not addressing this, it's just going to reinfect this, right? It's like how sometimes why they cut down or burn infected trees. Because if you don't clear them out, they're just going to continue to infect everything else. Right? Just like if you have, that's why, you know, we have surgeries to remove things. Because if you don't remove, if you don't attack the root, then it's just going to continue to grow above the surface. And this is a skewed balance with the broken heart and the angel of balance. But as everything is falling into place, it's also trying to mend this heart because that's the balance that we're coming into. And so it's mending this broken heart. But we have to allow that to happen. We have 48 and we have 9. That's a 12 and a 9. Cornucopia is 11. 9 plus 11 is 20. Okay, well, oh, that was enough. I could have ended there, but it doesn't feel like it's over. Honestly, with that rest and rejuvenation coming out in reverse. And again, like, it just feels like conversation that needs to be had. And we did have the throat chakra with temperance and earth. Throat chakra, temperance, and earth. That, to me, it was giving me the feeling again of a mantra that's repeated over and over and over until something physically shifts, until something tangible happens. Maybe until there's a physical sign. Maybe like the thinking man said, maybe someone is going to come in that inspires you or does some healing. Oh, snap. Well, oh, snap. Oh, snap. Ooh, I love this energy. The man holding the heart, the man holding a coin. They're both upright, but you know, I'm trying to break my hands. So the man holding a heart and the man holding a coin. With that angel of balance, it's like after that broken heart is repaired, and cornucopia was at the bottom of the deck. Cornucopia and broken heart with the angel of balance. Here's the man holding a heart and the man holding a coin. It puts everything. It's like it's the final missing piece, and you're hesitating at the door to spirit with that indecision, but it's the final missing piece. It's almost like it's what completes everything. It's the missing detail of the picture. It's the answer to the questions that never had an answer. Oh my gosh, I just got excited. I'm doing that one. Who this? Who wants to follow that up? Who wants to follow that up? Caring Connections? Oh, happy family with the angel of strength and walking away. Walking away is 27. The angel of strength is 50. Caring Connections is number 4. Happy family, 10 of Cups energy, angel of strength, and walking away. Honestly, this feels like this is the energy of choosing a new path. Not only choosing a new path, it's trailblazing. This is a trailblazing, like with walking away and the angel of strength coming right after for this happy family. This is a trailblazing energy. This is doing something that you never thought you would have done. This is going to places and achieving things that you never would have thought you would have achieved or gone. I know I said that backwards. This is trailblazing. And I was recently talking to one of my friends, and she was like, why is it so difficult sometimes? Why is it so hard? Why do I continue to do this? And it's just like, you are an energetic trailblazer. And we're carving out these new paths where it's like, I don't know too much about gridding the earth and the earth grid. I know a lot of people talk about it. But if I think of the earth grid as these energetic channels that we've been carving over time on the planet, that energy sort of flows through. With everything that's happening in the world, it's like we have the ability to fill in old channels, but at the same time, we're carving and creating new ones. And that's what this does. So even people that you're not even necessarily connected to physically or consciously, you blazing your own trail is creating these new channels. It's carving these new energetic paths to make it easier for people behind you to follow. And that's could be one of the duties of anyone who resonates to Starseed, Twin Flame, or Lightworker. To carve out these energetic pathways, to do that deep, deep, deep self-healing. To feel those like there are things that we need to feel. There are old channels, old systems that lead to places that we don't want to go anymore. So we're filling those in. And when we're filling those in as a collective, personally, individually, it may be this deep, 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 deep root traumas and everything else that we have to fill in. But again, at the same time as we're filling this in over here, we're also carving over here. This is huge. And the angel of balance, again, it's like it's coming out because the spiritual and the physical worlds are connected. The mental and emotional worlds are connected. The intangible and the tangible are connected. Maybe it's like you get to the door of the temple and you always thought that the door would be different. And it's like you followed the right door. You followed the right path, but it's looking different than what you remember. And it's because of the level of healing that you've done. The last time, like there's been some renovations, there's been some updates since the last time you saw it. It's like that one of the newer Alice in Wonderland movies. I think they actually made a newer one than that, but the first one, I guess, with Amanda Seyfried, maybe, and Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter, maybe. And then they were like, she was like, "Oh, what is this? This place is so new, but it was so dark." And everyone was like, "Alice, like you've been here before. You've been here before." But when you were younger, you called it Wonderland instead of Underland. When she went back as a more grown, was she an adult or was she a teen? I don't know. When she went back as an adult, it was Underland. She saw it as it actually was. When she was a child, it presented itself in a different way. It was Wonderland back then. And that's the energy of the Temple Path. It's like you've done enough healing and enough has changed on the inside because of the healing that you've done that the door may look different. The outside, the exterior may look different. And the interior will be different too. There will be things in there that are familiar, but it's going to be better than you've ever experienced it before. And it's almost like it's because, again, you carved a new path to the temple. And the path to the temple, it's like there are many, 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 many doors to this temple. Woman holding a coin purse at the bottom of the deck. But there are many, 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 many doors to the temple. And the way that you approach the temple affects what it is. Your maturity affects how you interact with the space because the space is connected to the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. And so how you approach it affects how it looks. This is amazing. Man holding a coin and the healer of the ages at the bottom of the deck. Oh, I need to go. I gotta call somebody. Okay. Can I get like, I know I did get a manageable number of cards, but it feels like the story keeps going. So it ain't necessarily the number, but can I get like one or two, please? Can I get like one card just to wrap this up? I think we've heard enough to wrap this up now, because ultimately at the end of the day, we should be listening to spirit anyway. So it doesn't really matter what I say because we should already know what's new. But if I can fill in a few pieces of the puzzle for you, because that is helpful. Sometimes someone else, it gives like a context to what it is that we're experiencing, right? Door to spirit and the woman holding a heart. Love that energy. Okay. There we go. Okay, you ain't have to fall all the way on the floor though. And look what's at the bottom of the deck. Our friend, the Temple Path. The Temple Path was kind of MIA for a minute there. It was coming out like all the time at one point. Okay. The card that came out is Blossoming Abundance, number 3. And the Temple Path is a 12. So they both reduced to 3. Interesting. I'm actually going to read Blossoming Abundance. So much is happening today. It honestly does feel like a new year, like whole new energy coming in. But it also feels like exactly what I was preparing and setting myself up for at the same time. And honestly, it also feels like things are about to take off. And I'm not perfect, and I still got some hesitation myself. But it's not, it's like, it's such a subconscious hesitation that manifests as like fatigue and tired and so many other things. I just need to get over it. Honestly, I just need to get over it. But things can really take off. And I feel like for a while there was a part of me, like I said, I chose to Ten of Wands my own journey to take it a little bit slower in some ways because I didn't want to leave. certain things as they were, maybe, but it's like it's something I can't hold on to anymore because it's on the other side of, like, we all have our own doors to the temple, and even if we find ourselves sharing sacred space with some other people, we still have to walk through our own doors, right? It's like we all come to the table with something different, even if it's pretty similar in some ways, it's different in others, and the door that you reach is so heavily tied to your mental, emotional, and spiritual that it's going to be different. It's like you can't wait outside of this temple for somebody. You got to wait on the inside because they're not going to arrive at the same door. And if you want to go to a different door, you're going to have to basically start all over. And if you're not changing enough, or if things haven't changed significantly enough, you're just going to arrive at the same door anyway. Everything that you want lies beyond the gates. Cross the threshold into the door of spirits. Okay? Don't be afraid. You ain't leaving nobody out who don't deserve to be in there, at least. And sometimes, again, it's like we can encounter exterior hostilities because of the indecision and hostilities that we have within our own minds. It's like that friction. I'll read the temple path again because I accidentally went to this one instead of the one I'm meant to go to. So, spiritual purpose and support is the temple path. Receiving this card represents your own spiritual evolution. Somebody said evolution lately. Maybe it was Chris Anthony. He was like, the word here is evolution. Receiving this card represents your own spiritual evolution. The winding path you are on leads to a blessed temple and a lovely garden, symbolizing the spiritual destiny your soul has had in mind for this lifetime. This card upright is here to tell you that what you're going through now is all a part of your soul's process. You are on your karmic path and heading in the right direction, and the choices you make now are important for your personal growth and life lessons. The lights around the temple represent the spirit world, your family members and friends, angels and guides, all the loving spirit helpers who long to assist you. Call upon them and be open to their wisdom and inspiration. I would personally interject here, like, instead of calling upon them and being open to their wisdom and inspiration, it's more like remember. Remember their wisdom, remember how they inspired you, and use that as strength with that angel of strength to motivate you to walk away from everything that lies outside of the temple and to step inside, to cross that threshold where you get happy family and cornucopia and a whole bunch of other stuff. This is a wonderful life expanding time. So keep in mind your personal priorities as well as your spiritual connection. Following your higher intentions will help you move your life forward in dramatic ways, and connecting with spirit and your higher self will have a wonderful influence on all that you experience. I open my heart to my spiritual truth and a deeper connection with spirit. Guidance and inspiration come freely and easily to me, is the affirmation. And again, I open my heart to my spiritual truth and a deeper connection with spirit, and we have that broken heart. The broken heart affects your connection to spirit because the heart is what you connect with. And it's like the connection in one will influence the connection in another. And if we are so overly concerned about opening or healing our hearts because of repeating whatever happened in the past, that's an automatic block and limiter on spirit. Right? Because if God is love and you're afraid of love, or if God is love and you're not open to love, then how are you supposed to know or experience God? How are you supposed to know and experience the divine or higher realms of possibility if you're not even open to love? Right? And forgiveness and an open heart, it means different things to different people. But if you're afraid of it, you're not going to get where you want to go. Okay. Or you might, I don't know. You might, I don't know. What do I know? I can't speak to everyone's journey. Maybe you, oh, Ice Queen. Yes. Ice Queen with exploration. You explored the dark. Now explore the light. There we go. Oh, 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 oh. This is another frequenter. Forgiveness, number 16, which is a 7. Redemption, rebirth, and regeneration. Forgiveness. Bottom of the deck is contemplation, which is number 7. So we have another 7-7, just like we had a 3-3 with the energy oracles. Contemplation is silence, knowing, and releasing control. And sometimes I guess the control that we have to release is that fear. It's the fear of repeating whatever in the past, a fear of not receiving whatever we're going for, that keeps us stuck and manifesting the same situations over and over. It's what keeps us from allowing different parts of ourselves to heal. And it all sort of stems from the root. And that deep inner child healing is pretty much synonymous with healing the root chakra, right? So, all right, that's what I got. I hope everyone has a good whatever when they see this. I did not necessarily intend for this to be like 2 hours long, but do I ever think that these won't be long, even though that's my track record? Hey, some of these are fairly short, but anyway, I gotta go take care of some stuff now, and I gotta start working on everything that I need to work on and get to moving, because Spirit is like, you can miss yours too if you keep procrastinating. Play if you want to. All right, I'll catch y'all later.